Hey everybody, welcome to Bloodlines and Bottom Lines, the show where we explore what really happens when family, business, and identity collide. I'm your co-host, Robert Moskowitz.
And I'm your co-host, Gershon Margolis.
Hey Gershon. And each week we sit down with someone brave enough to talk honestly about the messy, complicated, beautiful, and sometimes painful realities of running a family business. These are the stories behind the legacy, the stories behind the trauma, the stories behind the bottom line.
Right. Today's guest is Lauren Goldman, and we're very excited to have her. She actually, for anyone following, was our first guest, but we had some technical difficulties on our end, and she has agreed to come back, and so we're really excited. We're going to get to dig a lot deeper, learn about her and her family. One thing we learned first time around was that in some ways it's like a third generation family business, but we'll ask her all about that. Anyway, so Lauren is the president of a chain of pawn shops, and let's just jump right into it. We're so happy to have you back.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks
And
for part two, Lauren.
Just to be clear, I always have to make the corny joke that my dad always used to say is it's pawn shops, PAWN, not the other kind.
That's a good one. I like it.
So let's start. We like to start with the business side. So Lauren, can you tell our guests how does a pawn shop make money? Like what do you do? Are you really a lending institution? Are you really a buying institution? I know you've got a jewelry business. Is this really just like a front to buy gold? Like what's going on?
Well, I love answering this question because most people don't know what a pawn shop is and what we really do. So I like to always just start off by clearing the air. And a pawn shop is a collateral lender. So what we do is we lend money on something of value, and what the valuation is really depends on the pawn shop and the pawnbroker that you're going to. Some pawn shops take everything under the sun based on their knowledge or space limitations, but I am a New York City-based pawn shop, which creates some limitations in what I can take in. So the business that my family started and that I work in today is called Easy Pawn Corp. We have 18 locations all over New York City, and due to our space limitations, we are pretty much confined to taking in things that can fit into our very tiny New York City storefronts, which is jewelry, some electronics, some things that we refer to as odds and ends, luxury handbags, diamonds, and high-end watches.
Cars.
Well, we've made loans on cars, actually. We've done, random loans, such as cars. We've made a loan on a very rare piano. We've done cellos, we've done statues, we've done artwork. We'll take in these things. You can't just walk into our store, in Queens Plaza and get a loan on that immediately. That's more arranged by appointment with my brother who runs that side of the business. So I didn't answer the full question. So anyway, we make loans on those items. And then what our customers do is they get a contract. So here in New York, it's a 4-month term. So you'll come, we'll hold on to your item. Let's just say it's a gold ring and I offer you $100 for that item. You get the money in your hand. I hold on to the ring. It gets put in a secure vault. It does not get put out for sale, which is what a lot of people tend to think happens. It gets put in a vault and it is yours throughout the entire term period. I am not allowed to open the sealed package that it comes in. I'm not permitted to sell it. I'm not permitted to show it and get offers, nothing. It gets put in our vaults for secure keeping. During that term period, you can come back and do two things. You can either pay us what you owe us and the interest and the fees and redeem your item, or you can wait the 4 months, pay the 4 months interest and the fees associated with it, and then you get another 4 months. So we call that a renewal. When you renew your item, you continuously just make payments and we hold on to it and nothing really changes. When you redeem your item, you get the item back and you pay us back what you paid for it. Or the third alternative, which is contrary to what people think, we actually don't like this alternative and it doesn't happen as often as people think, is our customers will default. So that happens about 10% of the time. And that's because we'll call our customers, we'll send them notices. We want them to come back for their items so that they don't lose their item. But if they do, it does come to my department, which is when we decide, okay, are we going to scrap this and have it be a part of our cash flow because we need money to lend out to our customers so that we can continue being a pawn shop? Or does it get put out for sale and put into our retail inventory department?
Wow.
Yeah. So then that's a whole nother part of the business that I oversee, which is our luxury, estate, and fine jewelry.
And then that stuff you mostly are selling, or you're melting it down and turning it into other jewelry? How does that
So
go?
we do both. When we melt, we're not typically turning it into other jewelry, but we're refining it and um, putting the jewelry back into, the world of jewelry, and we get paid for that, which in turn we can lend out to our customers. The jewelry that we do stock as inventory gets appraised by our in-house gemologist. It goes through intensive review, and then it gets put out into one of our retail locations, which we have, a luxury retail location in a storefront called Beauty in Essex, which is a restaurant that has a pawn shop facade, and we sell jewelry out of there. We also have retail stores that are in our pawn shops, and we also sell directly wholesale to a lot of vendors and storefronts and other dealers in the industry.
Wow. Do you think if you had more room, you would take in just all kinds of wild items? No.
No. Well, it just honestly, I think the hardest thing about taking so many items is the turnover. And I mean, it depends. Again, I love that this is like a family business podcast because it really depends who in the family you ask. We all can snap our fingers and pretty much make that decision.
Right.
I would say no. My brother, who runs our eBay department, probably would say yes. So it's really just whoever feels strongly about it wins.
Got it. That's great.
All right. I have a question actually about different answers from different people in the family, but we'll get there in a minute. That's more like a finance business question. I want to ask a pawn shop question. You mentioned a couple of times luxury. You kept bringing up luxury. And I'm curious, is there like a demographic that you tend to work with? Are you dealing with the type of people who are wealthy, have luxury items, and for some reason are coming to a pawn shop to borrow money? Are we dealing with people who used to be wealthy, who now all they have is that $10,000 handbag? Or are we dealing with people who maybe aren't wealthy, could have afforded luxury items to begin with? Or like in all the movies or the books where it's like people are showing up at the pawn shop because they stole something, it was never theirs, and
Oh my
like,
God, no.
okay,
It's not the last one.
not the last one.
So as Robert knows from all of our side chat on that, but I would say we serve and provide our services to pretty much anyone who needs money for whatever reason. So we span all walks of life and demographics, and um, I guess we serve those who are very wealthy that are just looking for instant cash or an instant way to liquidate something, or those who what I used to call just need a bridge loan. So someone that's going through a financial hardship and is living paycheck to paycheck really could use our services, especially the ones that are in their neighborhoods, because it's an easy way to kind of, I have this gold chain that was gifted to me for my 15th birthday, and, I just need $200 to get to my paycheck on Friday. So we serve those clients. And then we also have, I have the very wealthy clients that, have tons of Chanel bags and also don't want to tell their husband that they just want to buy another one and they have to wait until next month. Uh, so it's real. I mean, everyone has a purpose and a need, and it's quick cash. I mean, we're vetted, we're licensed, bonded, we have all the things, we have the reputation here in New York City. And I think that that's what's most important to our clients, is just knowing that they can count on us. We're not one of the pawn shops or the cash for gold buyers that are just going to close up next week. We've been around for 26 years and more. And it's important to us to like maintain our reputation, our legacy, and just continue doing business and maintaining our trust in the industry.
So you
And
guys are
no,
you're in the cash business, Lauren.
yes, if you were to ask my dad what we
Right.
do, he would tell you we sell money.
You sell money. That's right. Right. Because you can never have enough money to go out.
So
Yes.
who are your main competitors in the selling money business? Is it, I guess, well, who are the main competitors of the pawn shop industry? And I think we're going to get an interesting story when we ask who are the main competitors in the pawn shop industry.
I was going to say, you know where this is heading. So our main competition, I guess, I mean, I would say it's gold buyers or, anywhere that people can just sell their items quickly. But I don't really look at those websites or alternatives as competitors because my true customers, my true base, the clients that I really focus on are the ones that need loans. So if you need a loan, you're most likely redeeming your item and then you're bringing it back on average 3 times because that was a nice process. It was you bring in your chain, you're getting money in your hand, cash in your hand to then use immediately for whatever you need to use. You're paying us back, you're getting the chain back, and it's a cycle. But once you get your paycheck, you're okay and you're on your feet. It's non-recourse. It's not affecting anything else in your life. You didn't have to go and ask a family member for money. So it's almost just like this sense of independency also for our customers that they really do like and take pride in. And at the end of the day, hopefully you'll have your chain back. So you've paid off your loan to us, you've gotten your chain back, and you have your safety net for just in case something happens in the future.
Got it. And then within the, one more follow up on that. Do you view other like payday lenders as competitors for the pawn shop industry?
I don't. There aren't. I don't think there are payday lenders in New York City. So I don't view them as direct competition. Um, yeah, we're also very highly regulated on the city, state, and federal level. So we can only charge a maximum of 4% interest per month. We have rates and fees that haven't gone up in years. So it pretty much has stayed the same, even though our costs and expenses have gone up. I really just look at, ways if people sell their jewelry, then they don't have jewelry or an asset to then get a loan on. So I would say my biggest worry or competition is someone that is buying the jewelry pieces from the customers that might need those pieces as a loan at some point.
I think people would be surprised to hear that 4% too, right?
Yeah. So New York City and Michigan, California, Massachusetts, we have some of the lowest pawn shop regulated interest rates in the country.
Oh,
Interesting. All
that's
right.
right.
So now let's segue into family. Who are your biggest competitors in the pawn shop industry?
All right, ready for it? My number one competition are my aunts and cousins. The business that my grandpa started was taken over by my aunts and uncles, and now it's run by my cousins. They have about 30 pawn shops in New York, and they are my number one competition. But we
Okay.
Friendly
still
competition.
manage to get together and have dinner, and it's all friendly competition, so that's good. But it wasn't always, which is, I guess, why I'm on bloodlines and bottom lines.
Got it. So can you tell us how that happened? Why did dad leave?
So, I mean, I was very young at the time. I don't really know 100%. That could maybe be a part 2 of this series, but because I'm sure he would love to talk about it. But I just know that, he is the baby of the family. He's the youngest of 4, and he came into the business last and really had to work to prove himself. Had a very hard time coming in when, you know, I just feel like it's similar to with my siblings here, but everyone kind of had their roles and their own drive going on. My dad came in and worked really hard, and he really bumped heads with his older brother because his brother was running the business and my dad was working in the business. And they were having a hard time getting along. My dad would be opening the stores, closing the stores, and he felt like, or at least this was how it was portrayed to me, that my uncle was running the business and doing what he wants, coming in when he wants. But he really did build that business and left a legacy. He's no longer with us, but he really is like respected in the industry for what he built and did. But my dad just couldn't do it. So he broke away and started his own business called Easy Pawn Corp, which he started from the ground up, basically. His first store was in Spanish Harlem in New York City. And he had to move locations a few years later, but we still have a store in Spanish Harlem in New York City. And then I started working for him, and I work with my younger brother and also my younger sister, and kind of thankful that I don't have to report to or work with my cousins and that I can just enjoy them as my cousins.
That's great.
Did you always expect to join the family
No,
business?
not at all. I will be the first one to admit and say that I was naive and a bit clueless with what my dad did for work growing up. I knew that he worked in the jewelry business, but like many of my friends, I just never asked what a pawn shop was, and it was never explained to me, this is what dad does. He makes loans on, like, not even in a simple way, he makes loans on jewelry. I always just thought it was a buying and selling store. And, I loved going in as a child and saying, like, I love this ring, or like playing jewelry store and picking things out. But I never understood the clientele and why they were coming in and that they were getting loans and needed money. And I went to Boston University School of Management. A lot of my friends went abroad for a semester, and I couldn't go because I thought I was going to be a true entrepreneur or maybe work in institutional sales. I had no idea really what I was going to do, but working in the family business was not what I was going to do. So I was working really hard and focused in school. And they all went abroad. I wasn't able to. So I decided to work for my dad for a summer and really got my hands dirty. Like, I'm not joking. I would clean showcases. I did everything to make the storefront look better because I felt like the image that people had in mind of a pawn shop was exactly what the store was. We were in Spanish Harlem on 116th and Lexington. Cases were falling apart. I couldn't believe that this was the store that I was working in, and I literally came in every day with gloves on to fix it and make it better. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the opportunity to be able to change things. It was my dad's business, so if I wanted to paint the showcases black, I was able to just, within reason. I wasn't able to get new showcases because he wouldn't do that, but if I wanted to spruce them up, I could do it. And I just loved having that immediate, I guess, gratification and being able to help the store in a way that felt meaningful. And it felt like I was directly impacting the business. So then fast forward to my senior year, my dad had asked me, he sat me down and said, look, you did a really good job this summer. I could really use help, as you can see, and just try it. Just try working for me. If you don't like it, I promise you can do anything you want. You can go back to school. You can do whatever you want, but just try. And I did, and I've never left. And I do have to say, I am so lucky because I really do love what I do. I never thought that I would love working in a pawn shop or running my family's business or doing what I do. And every day, I would say my biggest struggle is I love being home and being with my kids. I'm a mom of 3, but I also love being at work. So my hardest decision every day is where am I going to be? How can I divide up my time?
And once in a while, you end up on a podcast. So thank you very much for making time
Yeah.
twice
Or
for
twice if
this.
I'm lucky.
Twice if you're lucky. And third time, maybe you'll bring your dad and we can talk about his journey
Yeah,
from his family business.
by the way, he might just barge in at any point, so I have no control.
All right. Well, you could send him a link if you think he'd want to join.
Lauren, if apart from your falling in love really quickly with the family business, what was your dream about what you thought you wanted to do?
I really wanted to start something.
Mhm.
I was going to school for entrepreneurship. I would always have these crazy ideas of businesses to start or things to do. And I was always very resourceful with, I would say, not with money, but with making money or having ideas and trying to think of ways to monetize on them. And it just was always, I was always starting things too. So like I would, if there wasn't like an organization at school, I started it. If I wanted to throw a benefit for a charity, I just did it. So I was always very much a doer. And I think that that's kind of where both worlds collided, that like I could be a doer and work in my family business because that's where I can get the most done.
Mm.
Whereas the alternatives were, working your way up, doing things, but, showing people that you're capable, proving yourself and maybe getting your ideas heard, along a chain of command or a ladder. Now I didn't have to do that. So, um, I feel like it was beneficial for both of us because I get an idea and I need to act on it almost immediately. And the only way to do that is kind of either in your own business or the business that your dad owns.
How did the rest of the people feel? Like you showed up, you're 20 or whatever, 21, and
Yeah.
you're now like making changes. And they're like, hey, this case has been broken for the last 5 years. Who are you?
Okay, they loved what I did with the showcases because they knew that my dad wasn't going to do anything and he wasn't buying new showcases. So I was literally taking black duct tape and like making it look like it was paint and it worked. It sounds weird right in now, but it worked. So they were happy about that. I think I really had to prove myself because you're right. Like I was coming into a business, my dad's left and right hand of staff were people that weren't family members that had just gained his trust and respect and grew in the one store that he had. And then I did come along and kind of not push people aside, but I made my mark and I had to prove myself. So I worked the hardest that summer and I think the 2 years following that I've ever worked in my career. I was there at opening. And a big part of our culture during that time was to be there at closing. So everyone closed the store together. Like the gate would get rolled down and then we would all say goodnight. Another really big part of our culture in those early days, it was actually lunchtime or like meals. So we were working in Spanish Harlem, and just a big part of Hispanic culture is kind of saying like bon provecho. So like have a good meal before you eat or before you have coffee or anything. So I would always have my meals upstairs with our team on the sales floor so that clients can almost come in and chat and say hi. I would always joke and say that we were like the cheers of Spanish Harlem. So people come in, say hi, they say bon provecho and kind of just stop in. So I think I really had to work at that and make it clear that like I'm part of this. And then the next not hurdle, but way of proving myself was when we became partners with Beauty and Essex. Beauty and Essex really was a turning point for me in my career, and it happened very fast. I still was in this like early stages. I was 21, fresh out of college, and we were approached by the owners of Tao Group to put our store to basically make a storefront in the front of their restaurant, which at the time was the hottest restaurant in New York City. It was amazing. Paparazzi outside, celebrities every single night. I mean, it was the shining star of New York. And here they were asking us to be a part of it. So I would literally go from opening up the pawn shop in Spanish Harlem to feeling like I had to prove myself to these guys that I could do it and I can be there and also show my dad, like I committed to saying that we were going to be the front of this dining hotspot. Like I cannot bail and not show up. And I would go from the store in Spanish Harlem to the pawn shop at Beauty and Essex and work the night shifts. Those times we were working until midnight, 1 a.m. And it was the hardest I've ever worked. I mean, I look back on those days and I'm just like, how did I do it? Oh, I didn't have 3 kids back then. That's how I did it.
That's right.
But it was such a time. And I also then had to prove myself to them. I would go to the manager meetings, which they had weekly. I dedicated myself to being a part of their team while also not losing myself with my Easy Pawn Corp team and showing them, okay, look at what I'm building, look at what I'm doing. So we would have holiday parties at Beauty and Essex so that the team can see what we started and what we built there. And it was just exciting and hard and a lot of work, and it still pays off. I mean, we're still a part of it. We've opened up in Vegas with Tao Group at Beauty and Essex. We have a storefront there. And I also manage and curate the storefront in Mohegan Sun. So it's really taken me far. And like looking back, it shows that those nights that I worked my butt off really did pay off, because I can now speak to the people who are working there and my staff and say, look, I did this. I know it was a long time ago and I really don't feel like I'm that old, but I did it once and I know how to keep it going.
Yeah.
That was a long story. Sorry.
No, that was good.
Now,
So
and
working
you,
from 8 a.m. to midnight shift. That's quite the
yeah,
shift.
that's rough. What
I
time
mean,
the pawn shop open?
So the pawn shop in Spanish Harlem would open at 9:30. We would have to get there at 9 to set up.
Yep.
And I guess again, I could be late. Was someone going to fire me? No. So I'm sure I wasn't always prompt and on time and was able to do other things like if I needed to. But those early years were the hardest and the best at the same time.
Yeah. And you work with your siblings too, right?
I work with my siblings, so they weren't, which is so frustrating to me. I wish they were there during those years because they saw me at when I had kids and would come in late or leave for a sports class or school pickup. Now they see me as like a mom and they're like, you don't work that hard. I'm like, yes, I do. I'm working so much harder to work hard.
Right. Right. Because when you have a family, it's hard to work hard, right? You have to really put a system in place.
You just feel like you're working it depends on how you define work. I'm not always working on Easy Pawn, but I feel like I'm working so much harder every day. The exhaustion that I feel at the end of the day now is so much harder than those nights that I was working until 1 a.m.
And for your siblings, I know you're close with your father, but for your siblings and the whole family, do you think this experience brought you guys even closer together? Or are there like rough spots along the way about who gets to run what department or whose decision carries more weight?
Definitely rough spots along the way. However, we were raised, and I thank my mom for this a lot, but we were raised very close. So I still have dinners with my siblings, when we're not at work. I'm an aunt to my nieces and my nephew, but my other sister's not in the business. But my brother has 3 daughters, and I just think that's so important, and that's kind of instilled in us from my mom. And she'll kind of chime in and like when we have stuff at work, but she really tries to not stay in the work stuff, and she works harder on the back end to keep us together without work. She almost just like, I don't want to hear about your drama at work with your brother or this one. I just want us to be able to go for dinner, and you know what, you're not allowed to talk about work at all.
Yeah.
But you have to come.
Right.
So I really respect that part of it. And my parents are divorced, so I kind of understand why she's like, I don't want to hear about work. You can talk to me, but I want to have a normal family dinner and not talk about that stuff. So that's kind of kept us going. But I think we actually are stronger because I have to talk to my brother about work stuff during the workday, and I wouldn't normally be picking up the phone or texting him as often if we weren't working together. And it's almost this like sense of even we had a situation a few days ago where we really had to communicate and talk like quickly. And it's just I see his name pop up my phone, and it's just I answer almost faster because I'm like, okay, not only is it my brother, but it's about work. So
Yeah.
I have to like jump. Um and it creates that sense of I don't know if I would pick up the phone that fast if it was, a coworker and I didn't think it was an emergency.
Mhm.
So it creates this kind of like unspoken code that, we have to look out for each other and also like have each other's back. We're trying to move this forward together, which
Yep.
is it's a nice feeling. But the lows are lows. We can fight really badly. That hasn't happened in a while though, so I don't want to jinx it.
Right.
And the growing pains, like when my sister started, it was almost like what had happened to my dad a little bit. So it was like she was coming in, we had formed our marks and had our titles and our jobs, and I felt bad for her. It's hard to come into a role and feel like your role was carved out for you because nobody else wanted to do it. So she tried out a few different things, and she runs our luxury handbag division, which has grown so much in the past 5 years. So it's really been great for her.
And I think it's going to grow some more because Gershon just messaged me that he needs to buy a bag for his wife.
Perfect.
So that's really,
Y-
you can,
Yeah.
Gershon, you don't have to be shy. You can message Lauren. She'll hook you
It's
up.
the best thing about doing podcasts with Robert is the amount of stuff I buy on these podcasts.
Yep.
Like, it's like, I forgot who one of the recent ones, I think with Abe, he was like signing me up to work in the Mossad or something.
Yeah.
I
You
don't
got to keep, you have
it's-
to help our guests out. It's just part of the economy too.
Yeah,
And
you
she'd
have
love a
to.
luxury handbag.
I mean,
Come on.
we're
Yeah,
basically family now. Like it's
Right.
just
Right.
this
Yeah.
is bloodlines. Well, I'm happy to help you with the bag, but I'm
Well,
going to have
thank
to
you.
refer you to my sister so then you can talk
Oh,
to
okay.
her.
Got it. So you mentioned that your brother sells a lot on eBay. Is that one of your main? Is that like a big distribution channel for your stuff? And is is there pressure? This is sort of a business question. Is there pressure on like almost the acquisition side? Like if his job is to sell stuff on eBay or wherever else that you'll tell us, is he like, I need more stuff to sell because otherwise, what am I doing here? Like,
No, he is so busy. It's actually because I mean, so I just to give some more background, during that time when I was growing the business and my siblings weren't working with me yet, I was running the business with my dad. Then a few years later, I got married, have a family, and slow down a bit. So my brother really jumped into the role of managing the stores, which as I'm taking a step back, the stores have now we're up to 18 stores. So it's a lot, it's almost double when I was running them. And he's going to the locations and checking in on them. So alongside, he's also running the eBay department. He has a team of people, but it's definitely, oh my God, he would appreciate me saying this so much, but it's not easy to be him right now. And I'm very thankful that I have him because then I was able to step back. Um, but I would say the inventory question is, we sell on eBay because we have to. It's just bigger reach like everybody else that sells on eBay. We don't like our stores to look empty. But needless to say, there's no, knock on wood. I mean, we haven't had an inventory issue because if it's not what we call like odds and ends, which are the random things that we'll take in, we'll either broaden our horizons and take in more. Like what you were saying, if someone comes in with something random and our showcases are empty, sure, we'll make a loan on a bike because there's room for it. Or we'll just buy it also. So you have the option to either sell us something or get a loan on it. But we can always fill the cases with, silver jewelry or costume jewelry or anything that we kind of want. It's a retail store. So we can always fill that void, which is kind of nice being able to pivot. One of our stores, I'm only thinking about this because one of our stores actually is empty right now. So we have to move inventory from other locations. But I had said to them, just fill it with, fashion jewelry and make it fun inside. That way it's the price point that community might want and it looks good.
For you guys, what percentage of people come into the pawn shop to straight sell versus or loan?
So it's about, I would say 30% just sell
Mm.
and 70% come in for loans.
how do you keep track of all the loans? Do you have like a loan management system?
But yeah, so we have a POS system that was built specifically for a pawn shop. Yeah,
Otherwise,
it's
you'd have to put it up,
it's
write it down.
it's the only one that exists basically on the market. So we really
Got
need
it.
our software system. But it's funny, actually, I just had a flashback because you had mentioned, the family drama and was it always this easy and rough? But like I have this like picture in my head of the early days of me coming in and working. And my dad almost like slamming his fist down on the table and just yelling at me sometimes, saying that he's the boss. I'm the boss. I'm the boss. And it would mainly be like when I would say like, oh, we're going to, open up on Sundays now. And he would just say, but our payroll's going to go up and who's going to pay the overtime, whatever. And I would just be like, I don't know, but like we need to be open on Sundays because our customers are asking for us to be. He's like, but I'm the boss. Why are you making these decisions? I'm the boss. And that would be like the times that I would get really scared of him and go home and cry. But he hasn't done that in a while. So maybe he's realized he's not the boss anymore.
Yeah. Yes, you guys are open on Sunday.
What did you say, Robert?
And let me guess. Now you guys are open on Sunday.
No, not anymore.
So
that was short-lived.
He really was the boss.
He really was the boss.
Yeah, no, of course. He is and was the boss. But yeah, I don't know why we stopped. Yeah, it's just hard. It's hard with staff. A lot of people want to work on Sunday, but overtime is crazy in New York City. It's time and a half. I don't know where it is everywhere else, but it's just it's a lot. And I think I do respect time off and people needing time. And when you're open 7 days a week, it's really hard to manage and put that on someone, even if they really want to work.
Yeah. And you get 3 children, Laura?
Sorry, what'd you say, Rob?
3 children, right?
Yeah, I have 3 kids.
So now what if 1, 2, or 3 came up to you eventually and says, I want to work in the family business. I want to work in the pawn shop.
They say it all the time. Actually, my 6-year-old daughter last night asked me if she's going to be a gold girl when she's older, because that's kind of that's my brand name is Gold Girl. My married last name is Goldman, so I've always been called the Gold Girl. And I was like, of course you are. I mean, if you want to, like, you can be Gold Girl. You could just be the Gold Girl. You don't have to be a Gold Girl.
Correct.
And it was really cute. And my son, my older son, comes into work with me whenever he can. I don't know. He's very interested in collecting things. My husband takes him to trade shows, and he likes to like negotiate with these guys and go up to the table and be like, I'll offer you $5 for that card. And they think it's hilarious. And he doesn't even know that this is kind of like what I do and the negotiating and all the stuff. And I'm just like, oh, we have a future pawnbroker here. That could be really good.
Do you negotiate with clients, or do you just tell them, here's what we can give you?
No, we negotiate. I mean, if someone comes in and says, I have this item and I need this much money, it depends. If I can give it to them off the bat, I will. If not, I have to make sure that we can, like any business, make the right deal at the right price. And there's always room for a little bit more, I would say sometimes. But you would actually be surprised about this when it comes to the pawn shop customer. There are times that they won't take the full amount of what it's worth. So if you come in with something and I tell you I can give you $10,000, that customer might say, I just need $1,000. Because they'll have to pay the interest and everything on the $10,000, even though it's worth that much. They'll just take the $1,000 and then come and pay us back, and it's a lot less of a burden on them.
Got it. Yeah, that makes
sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, now we get to Robert's favorite part.
My favorite? What you mean, the rapid fire questions?
The rapid fires.
Ooh, rapid fire.
The reason Gershon's saying that is it's his favorite part. Now he's trying to get me, but it's let's do rapid fire. I like rapid. I do my rapid fire a little bit different than Gershon's, so I do them true rapid fire. You ready, Lauren?
Wait, so do I have 2 rapid fires or it's just a single?
We'll see how much time we have.
You want me to start, Gershon, with some fun
Sure.
ones?
Go ahead.
I'm so nervous.
No. Mine are easy. I promise. Okay, ready? Okay, chocolate or vanilla?
Vanilla.
LA or New York?
New York. Sorry.
No, me too. I'm in LA now, but I actually miss New York, so I get it. And I've only lived there a year and a half. Bagels or pizza?
Ooh, pizza.
Red wine or white wine?
It depends on what I'm eating. Is it hot? Is it cold?
You got to choose one. It's rapid fire.
Okay, white.
Okay, that's all I got. A lot of food related questions, but I feel like rapid fire lends itself easy to food. So
I'm a big foodie, so
that's right.
I support the rapid fire
Okay.
food questions.
Okay. Good. And I threw in the LA, New York one because,
Yeah,
but I'm a New York person too. So
you're a convert.
I am a convert. Now, Gershon's going to ask his
All right.
rapid fires.
Yeah, maybe they're not really rapid fire, as you said. But if one of your kids was going to be a business mogul, which would it be?
Oh, that's
Oh,
good.
I can't decide. My kids are like 3.
Okay.
That's too
I can't tee them up for that. All of
Yeah.
them.
right. Good answer.
That's a good answer. One family activity that you cut out as an adult.
That I cut out. What is something that my family used to do when I was a kid that I don't do anymore?
Yeah, these
Oh,
are not really rapid fire.
well, I mean, unintentionally, but as a kid, my dad was a big boater, and we would like go on his boat and sleep on the boat. And I really enjoyed that, but I don't have a boat, so I guess it was just cut out.
Get a boat. Take a boat in. It's
And
a
my husband doesn't know how to drive a boat, and it's just not
Oh.
gonna happen. It's not in the cards. Or motorcycle rides, I guess, is something that, my dad is he's a biker guy. I guess he is what you would envision as your stereotypical pawnbroker, but he's got like the motorcycle, and he used to give us like rides around the block, and my mom would freak out and get so upset. So that's definitely been cut out of my family now.
Probably for the best.
No, my kids are never allowed on a motorcycle,
Yep,
even
I
if
like
their
that.
grandpa's driving. So
Definitely for the best.
I have a former partner who he was a CEO, and he at some point in like his 50s or 60s, I think, started driving a motorcycle, and he like drives to Tennessee from New York.
my dad drives cross so it's called the like saddle butt ride or something. Oh no, I'm totally messing this up. I got to find out what it's called. He like won some like there's like an award for like how far you go on your motorcycle, and he keeps like getting
Oh, wow.
higher and higher up. Like he's gone to like North Dakota, he goes to he
Wow.
goes to Sturgis. He's legit. But
All right. Let's do one final question, then we'll wind down. What is one thing the outside world would never guess about your family dynamic?
ooh, about my family dynamic. I was going to say one thing that people would never guess is that I am a pawnbroker. Like that's my favorite party trick is like, guess what I am. And everyone's like, you work in PR or like you do this. I'm like, nope, pawnbroker. Family dynamic is just that, I mean, we're like every other family though. Like there are times when we all want to kill each other and hate each other. And then there are days when, I don't know, that we all love each other, but it comes down to, and I think this is really how we were raised, is that like family's family. And whether you're, my cousins who are my competition or my brother who I rely on and trust, like at the end of the day, like my family is my heart and so important to me.
That's beautiful.
Sorry.
Thank you. Well,
No, that's
good.
great.
That's a great wind down. All right.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you. Wait,
Thank
quick
you.
smile for the gram. Hold on.
All right. Thank you for listening to this episode of Bloodlines and Bottom Lines. If this conversation resonated with you, or if you know someone who's lived through the complexity of a family business, share this episode with them. It helps more than you know. And if you have a story of your own and would like to be a guest on the show, reach out. Family businesses shape who we are, for better or for worse, and telling these stories matters. Until next time, I'm Gershon Margolis.
And I'm Robert Moskowitz.
This is Bloodlines and Bottom Lines, where we go beyond the business and into the truth.